All right, we're going to do some hamstring activation here. So this is something that is often part of other exercises, but can stand alone as well. So we're going to start in that same position as a glute bridge, right? You're laying flat, hips, knees, and ankles are right in line with one another, and those knees are pointed straight towards the ceiling. To activate these hamstrings, you're going to drive the heels into the ground and then feel like you're going to pull the heels back towards your butt, like you're trying to touch your heel to your tush, like you're doing a butt, like a butt kick. And you should feel this muscle right behind the leg working. That is your hamstring. Okay, so this is the leg down version. This is going to be the easiest version. Next, we will do a seated version because these are muscles that when they're turned off, you want to try to activate them and utilize them as often as you can throughout the day. So we do a lot of sitting in a day, so let's learn how to do this seated too. Go ahead and sit up. Here's a ball. You do not have to do this on an exercise ball. That just happens to be what I have available. All right, so same here. If you sit at a 90-90, that's going to give you your best hamstring activation feeling, but in all fairness, we move through all ranges of motion in a day, so 90-90 is a good place to start, but it doesn't necessarily matter how high or low you're seated. Once you figure out how to do this, it's good to work it in multiple angles, okay? Same idea as when you're laying on the ground. You're going to drive those heels in. That'll turn on those glutes just a tiny bit and keep you from wobbling around. And then you're going to try to pull those heels back towards your butt. Good. It's very subtle. You probably can't even see Dominique moving here. No one should see that you're doing this exercise either, so it's a really good one to sneak in at work. Okay? All right, go ahead and stand up, Dom. So often we'll end up standing throughout the day, and that will turn off these, with these locked knees, we see that a lot, or like hyperextended knees, that'll turn off those hamstrings. So first thing we can do to start making sure that they okay. All right. One of the things that we will commonly see in people whose hamstrings are turned off is that they'll catch themselves standing with hyperextended knees or locked knees, right? That's going to turn those babies off. So one thing that you can do very simply is to just unlock your knees, right? You don't want to feel like your knees are really bent, but they should just have a micro bend in them. Enough that if your kid brother came to like karate chop you in the knees, you wouldn't fall down, okay? So just a baby bit. That by itself should help turn those guys on a little bit, right? Beyond that, you can also think about dragging one foot behind you. So if you notice that when you do that, you can feel the hamstring on one side, but you can't feel it on the other side, for example. The side that you can't feel it on, that's the side you're going to want to think to drag that foot behind you on. Not by straightening your knee. Keep that same little micro bend in it and think you're going to drag back, right? Another way to think about it is to pull your sits bone down to your knee. Again, this is a very subtle movement, and we're not so concerned with how much your hips are tipping, because if you just concern yourself with how much your hips are tipping, you may overuse those hip flexors again, okay? So little baby bend and thinking to soften those knees, and almost like you're dropping your hips to your knee can get those hamstrings to activate as well.